Tipping scales has been some of the most fun I've had in quite some time. And after a good while of using it, I thought to myself, this needs to get paired with the Tinkerer. I need to see what two will go together. I know I said I wasn't going to do this, but I had to. As you can see in the gameplay, this thing absolutely shreds. It is so fun. So let's get straight into tipping scales and the Tinkerer. So now, of course, we all know the Tinkerer, so long as our primary and secondary weapons are not exotic or named, they will share their talents. And one last rule, they cannot be weapon swapping talents. So we all get that, we know that. I don't think I have to go into that too much. Now, with this, the mask is rolled to double crits. That's how the mask comes. And I have a critical hit chance mod on there. So now we go on to tipping scales. So as we all know, we get 30% increased magazine size. We get 30% LMG damage, and then we get the talent throttle control. Shooting builds us stacks up to 50, and each stack gives us 0.5% weapon handling and 4% critical hit damage. Now, as long as we are continuously shooting, we don't have to be hitting targets, but as long as we're shooting, we will maintain our stacks, we won't lose them, and as long as an enemy is suppressed, we won't lose our stacks. So I feel like it's fairly easy to keep our stacks maintained. Now, with just the gear set at max stacks, it gives us 200% critical hit damage and 25% weapon handling, but we are using the chest piece, and the chest piece comes with the talent sustainability. This increases our max stacks from 50 to 75. So now we get a total of 300% critical hit damage and 37.5% weapon handling. Now, as you can see, I have the bag rolled to critical hit chance with a critical hit damage mod, and the core is rolled to weapon damage. Let's quickly go through each piece that we're wearing. We're also using the holster. This is rolled to critical hit chance with a weapon damage core. We're using the gloves. They are rolled to critical hit chance with a weapon damage core. And we are also using the backpack. This is rolled to critical hit damage with a weapon damage core and a critical hit damage mod. Now the backpack also gives us the talent Snowball. This increases our critical hit damage per stack from 4% to 7%. So now at max stacks, this increases our total critical hit damage to 525%. Now let's quickly run over to our gloves, just to kind of round everything out here. I decided to go with the Contractor's gloves. The brand set bonus gives us 10% LMG damage, and the named part of this is the attribute damage to armor. We get an increased 8% damage to armor. Obviously, you want more damage if you can get it, so this is pretty awesome. And then we also have a critical hit chance attribute on there. Now the core, as you can see, it is a blue core at the moment. I do swap that out between red and blue, kind of depending on how I'm feeling for the day, but at the moment, as you can see, it is rolled to a blue core. And now we have the weapons. We are running the GR9 light machine gun. Of course, the core attributes are damage targets that are cover and LMG damage, and the main attribute is damage to armor. That's kind of the go-to. It's what you want to do, increase the damage. Because now with this and the Contractor's gloves, we're getting 14% damage to armor with the Contractor's gloves. But now for the talent, I decided to go with measured. I've actually never used this as a main talent, so using this for the first time as a main talent was like really, really fun. I usually have a secondary running this talent, but wow, this thing beams. So for the talent measured, the top half of our magazine has a 25% rate of fire and a minus 25% weapon damage. But the bottom half of our mag has a negative 18% rate of fire and 30% weapon damage. So it kind of balances out between the two halves of the mag, even though that second half absolutely destroys. The first half shoots super fast, but the damage that that second part puts out is actually completely insane. Now, since we are using LMGs, I thought the talent to pair measured with would be strained. I felt like that was the best thing to use. We gain 10% critical hit damage for every 0.5 seconds we're firing. This stacks up to 5 times. Now, we are using an LMG, so we're shooting a lot. We're shooting for long periods of time, so we're maintaining stacks very easily. Now, on max stacks with strained, we increase our critical hit damage another 50%. So at max stacks with tipping scales and then the strain measured, we're sitting at 575% critical hit damage. Of course, I am using the minigun specialization. I usually use this for the armor on kill. This armor on kill keeps me alive in so many scenarios, especially if I'm one shot and I really can't heal. I have to just fight anyway, so at least I can just fight, and once I get my kills, I can get my armor back. Now, as for the skills, I am using the Precision Smart Cover. I feel like this skill just pairs perfectly with LMGs. You get increased weapon handling, and you get increased damage to targets out of cover. You're probably not running and gunning with an LMG. You're going to sit behind cover and use it. So this is just the perfect pair. Now, as for the other skill, I did use the Decoy just to give me those moments to reset, reload, pop a med kit, reposition, whatever the case is. The decoy is perfect for that. I don't have a lot of armor. Like I said, sometimes I'm running no armor cores, so having a decoy to kind of get all the aggro off of me for a few moments is really clutch. I do have the world modifier on. I didn't have any active modifiers on when I was actually running this, but I did have the global modifier on. And I've been pretty consistent with the stats that I've had here, which is 23% rate of fire and 8% damage bonus. So just to go to the stats so you all can see, at the moment, obviously without any stacks being built, I'm sitting at 50.6% critical hit chance and 89.9% critical hit damage. But there you have it. That is my tipping scales and tinkerer build. This thing is super fun to use, and it's an absolute beamer. Let me know what you guys are using with tipping scales. Are you comparing this with the Tinkerer? And if you are you using any talents that are different? Comment down below. Let me know. I do apologize if I sound a little different, bit sick, but I gotta put a video out there. This thing was so fun. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. I'm gonna leave you all some gameplay, and I'll see you all on the next one.
Reinforcements en route. Detecting additional hostile contacts.